Welcome to this predicted paper from onmaths. This paper represents the best guess for the upcoming exams. Please use this paper in addition to your other revision. You can complete a unique version of this paper by going to our onmaths site. Onmaths is full of free content to help you prepare for your exams, such as topic-based papers, demon questions, and mini mocks. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing. So we're going to write an expression for the amount of people on the first bus. So they've started with X passengers and they've gone to 11 bus stops with X passengers. So altogether that is 12X. So we're going to have the first bus. And so we've got 12X. And then on the last bus stop, 19 passengers get on. So plus 19. Now for the second bus, well, we start with X and a further 5X come on. Because 5 bus stops with X passengers. So that's 6X altogether. And then 79 get on. And it says the first bus finishes with less passengers than the first. So the first bus finishes with less. And the way we show that is with this inequality here. Now all we need to do is solve that inequality. And we've got x on both sides, so we look at the x's. We've got 12x and 6x, so we always take away the smaller amount. So we're going to take away the 6x both sides. And next thing we're going to do is take away the 19 from both sides. And so, meant to be 60. Got ahead of myself. And the last thing we do is divide by 6 both sides. And so we've got x is less than 10. Now, it says here, assuming no passengers got off either bus, what is the largest value for x? Now, it is tempting to write down 10, but it says x has to be less than 10. So the biggest number we can get that is less than 10 is 9. So we're given 21 to 4 is the ratio. We're just going to have our lines in, because what we need to do is make the left hand side be 1. Okay. And to do that, for 21 I need to divide it by itself, divide it by 21, and we're going to do the same to the right hand side. So 21 divided by 21 is 1, perfect, that's what we wanted. 4 divided by 21 is 0.190 blah blah blah. It says it wants it to 2 decimal places, so it's going to be 1 to 0.19. To find the median, we need to have all the numbers in a list from smallest to biggest and find the middle num. Now, we can't do that when we're using a table like this, or it's not very practical to. So we need a kind of different strategy, and the way we do it is to use a simple formula to find the position of the median. Now the median will always be in the n plus 1 divided by 2 position. So we need to find out what n is, and we do that by adding up all the frequencies there. So let's add those together and you get the sum of f. So those add up to 15. So if you do 3 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1 plus 5, you get 15. And so we've got 15 plus 1 divided by 2. 15 plus 1 is 16, divided by 2 is 8. So the position of the median is in the 8th position. Now to easily find out which group, because it's asking for the class interval, which is just a fancy way of saying a group. So it could be this one, or it could be this one. To easily find out which group the median is in, what we do is a quick running total. So what I'm going to do is add up the frequencies as I go along. So we've got 3 there, 3 plus 4 is 7, plus 2 is 9, plus 1 is 10, plus 5 is 15. And then what I do is just convert those into 3rd, 7th, 9th, 10th, and 15th. So what those numbers are the last time that a number is in that group. So we've got 3 numbers that are in the group 10 to 25, and the third one is the last number in that group. The fourth one, therefore, will be in the 25 to 40 group. So we're looking for the 8th one. Well, the 7th one is the last one in this group. So the 8th one will be in this group here, as well as the 9th. Then the 10th one will be in the next group. So when it asks for a class interval, all you need to do is copy down exactly what the group is. So it's 40 to 55. And don't ever write down 40 to 55 or anything like that. Always copy it exactly from the table. So I'm going to start just by writing out the equation. And I can put my lines in. Okay, we're asked to make x the subject, so we're going to first of all add 10 to both sides. In fact, I'm just going to move all this over a little bit so I've got a bit more space. Okay, so we're left with m plus 10 on the left hand side, and we've got 1/7 x on the right hand side. Now to get rid of the 1/7, what I can do is just times both sides by 7. So 7 brackets m plus 10 equals x. So x therefore would equal 7 brackets m plus 10, but it says expand your answer fully. So we're just going to expand the brackets, 7m plus 70. So for this question we need to understand the different types of graphs from different functions. So if we have a reciprocal graph, it looks something like this and like this. It could be the other way around and it could be distorted, but it basically goes down to a point along here. It goes to infinity and it goes to infinity along a point over here, and obviously those positions could change. Then we've got a linear graph. A linear graph is just any straight line, so just any kind of straight line, either up or down, and this doesn't look like either of those. Then we've got a exponential graph. An exponential graph just starts really small and then just really increases like that and just keeps going up. And here we kind of have that, obviously the other way around, it starts going down, but here it's actually going up, so it can't be a reciprocal graph. So the graph that this is, or could be, is a quadratic graph because it's a nice U shape. So if we carry this on, it could be a nice U shape. It could also be a cubic graph as well. So it could go up and then down and then up, and that's a cubic graph. But the most obvious one is a quadratic graph. So quadratic function. So we're going to start by understanding that all lines form or can form an equation y equals mx plus c, with m being the gradient and c being the y-intercept. It says here the gradient is -2, so we've already got a bit of a head start with this, but we don't know what the y-intercept is. So we're going to use this first set of coordinates to work out what the y-intercept is. So y is -31 and x is 15. And we're going to use this to solve and find out what c is. So first thing I'm going to do is, well, just tidy this up. 2 times 15 is 30, so -30 plus c. And I'm just going to add 30 to both sides to get c on its own. So that would be -1 equals c. So c is -1. So we now know that the equation is y equals -2x minus 1. And we're told that the y is -37. And we're looking for the x value, which they've called w. So let's get our solving lines in. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is add 1 to both sides. And so it would be -36 equals -2x. I'm going to now times, or divide everything by -2. And a negative divided by a negative is positive. 36 divided by 2 is 18. And then obviously that gets rid of the coefficient of the x, so it's just x. So x equals 18, so the x value is 18 and the x value is the w value. So w is 18. So to find the area of a rectangle, we do length times the width. So here, to find the area, we will do the 10 times the whole of the 10t plus 4. And to show that we're doing the whole of it, we put it in brackets. So a different way of writing that is 10 brackets 10t plus 4. And whichever method you use to expand brackets, feel free to do it here. I'm going to just do the grid method, but whatever method you prefer. Actually, I don't need the, I've done too many here. Let's get rid of that. So we've got 10 times 10t plus 4. So we're timesing them, so 10 times 10t, 10 times 10 is 100, so it'd be 100t, 10 times 4 is 40. So our answer will be 100t plus 40. The first thing we can do is work out what the circumference of the full circle would be. Obviously we haven't got a full circle here, but what the circumference of the full circle would be had we got a full circle. So that's going to be pi times the diameter. The diameter is twice as big as the radius, and this 21 centimeters here is the radius of a full circle. So that's going to be pi times 2 lots of 21, which is going to be 42 times pi, which is going to be 131.946, blah, blah, blah. Now, we don't have a full circle here. We've got to work out what fraction of a circle we have. Well, we obviously have a quarter of a circle. So to find the arc length, which is this part here, it's like a part of a circumference, to find the length of the arc, what we're going to do is just get that circumference and we're just going to divide it by 4. So we're going to get the 131.946, blah, 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 and divide it by 4. When we do that, we get 32.986, blah, blah, blah. Now, that's not what the perimeter is. Perimeter is the total distance around the circle. So we've also got to add on the 2 parts here, the 2 radii here, to get the full distance around the circle. So the perimeter is going to be the arc length plus a radius plus a radius. So that's going to be 32.986 blah 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 plus 21 plus 21, which equals 74.986 blah blah blah. And when we round that to 2 decimal places, we get the answer of 74.99. The formula for an exterior angle for a regular polygon is 360 divided by the amount of sides. Now here we're given the fact that the exterior angle is 30 and we're looking for n, so we just need to rearrange the equation. We can times both sides by n. And then divide both sides by 30. And so we've got n equals 360 divided by 30. And when you do 360 divided by 30, we get the answer of 12. So it's a 12-sided shape. So we're going to first of all convert the 11 litres into millilitres. So we're going to do 11 times 1,000, which would be 11,000. Okay, so we're going to just draw a line, like a number line. And we're going to have the 11,000 in the middle. Now, what would be the next one down if we're looking at to the nearest 10 mil? So we're going to add a 10 mil on, which will be 11,010. And we're going to take the 10 mil away. So 11,000 take away 10 mil will be 10, 990. Now when we're looking at limits with the upper and lower part of it, we are looking at halfway points. So halfway here and halfway here. So this halfway point will be 10,995 and the next one will be 11,005, and that's the halfway points. And so that is going to be our upper and lower bound. And we just need to say that V can be anything above the 10,995 and including that, and it can be anything below 11,005, but it can't include that, because if it did, if it was 11,005, it would have rounded up to 11,010. First thing we need to do is work out the volume of this prism, and it's a trapezium-based prism. So the volume will be the area of the cross-section, or area of the trapezium, times the length, how 3D the prism is. So trapezium is half a plus b h, and then times the length. Now A and B are the two parallel sides, which will be this one and this one. And then the H is the perpendicular line that hits both of them at 90 degrees, which is what perpendicular means, between the bases. So this will be the 25 meters here. So it's going to be half, and then we're going to add 1 and 5, times that by 25. The length is how 3D it is, so it would be that 10 there. So we're going to times that by 10, and that will give us 750. So it's 750 meters cubed. Now, there is a little formula we can make for the rate. So the rate of anything, for this, will be the volume gained over time. Now, with this question though, we're interested in the time it will take. It says how long will it take. So we're actually looking at the time. So it will be time equals the volume, which is 750, over the rate, which is 15. So 750 divided by 15 is 50. So it will take 50, and let's have a look. It says per minute. So it would be 50 minutes. We don't have to for this question, but it might be helpful to draw a Venn diagram for this. And we've got green and brown leaves. So we'll have green on the left and brown on the right. So green and brown. And we're told that there are 19 green and 15 brown and 6 that were not green and brown. So the only number we can put in is the 6 on the outside of the Venn diagram. We're told that 19 are green, but we don't know which, either they're in here or a bit of both. So what we can do is we can label the center X, and we can say that there are 19 take away X just green, because they could have been both green and brown. And for the brown we can do the same, so it'd be 15 minus X. And for the next step, we know that all of them together add up to 32, because it says in the question. So we're going to add all of these, the 19 minus X, the X, the 15 minus X, and the 6 together, and we know that equals 32. And let's get our solving lines in. So we've got minus X and minus X, that's be a minus X. And we've got 19 plus 15 plus 6, which will be 40, equals 32. We're going to take away the 40 both sides. And we can just times by minus 1 both sides to make them both positive. So now we know X is 8, we can start filling in the Venn diagram. So it's 19 take away 8, which will be 11. X is 8, so we know that that's 8. And 15 take away 8, which is 7. So find the amount that were green and brown. We know it's going to be 8. This question is the same as questions you get where you've got y equals 8x squared, and you've asked to find what y is when x equals 3. The questions are exactly the same, but instead of y we write f of x, and this is saying that the function is 8x squared, and we want to feed in the 3 into the function. So it's going to be 8 times 3 squared, and 3 squared is 9, and 8 times 9 is 72, so the answer would be 72. So we're told that the two cuboids are similar, which means we can have scale factor, and we can work out the linear scale factor straight away to find out what we times the 14 by to get to the 49. We're going to do 49 divided by 14, big one divided by small one, and that gives us 14, does it? No, 3.5. Okay, so we times it by 3.5. So 14 times 3.5 is 49. But that is the linear scale factor. And this question is all about volumes. So we're looking at going from here to the volume of the smaller one. Okay. So whenever we go from the bigger to the smaller, we're going to divide by the scale factor. So we know we've got to find the scale factor and divide by it. But the volume scale factor is going to equal the linear scale factor cubed, because volume scale factor has 3 dimensions. Volume has 3 dimensions, therefore it's going to do the linear scale factor 3 times in a row, times 3.5, times 3.5, times 3.5, or 3.5 cubed. So the volume scale factor, we're just going to cube that 3.5, and we get 42.875. So it'd be 42.875. And so on our calculator, we're going to do 4,201.75 divided by the 42.875, and we get the answer 98. We're going to start by working out what outcomes will give us 2 different types of drink. So we could have OA or AO. We could have AW or WA. And we could have OW or WO. Now, what we notice really when we do this is that OA gives us the same probability as AO. Same with AW and WA, same with OW and WO. So we're going to just ignore the right-hand side ones, and we're just going to focus on the left-hand side ones. To work out the probability of O and then A, so orange juice, then apple juice, we work out the fact that it's 6 over, the probability of picking orange juice first of all is 6 over 27. And then if we picked an orange juice, the probability of picking an apple juice would be 9 over 26. And so that would be 54 over 702. Apple juice then water would be 9 over 27, and then 12 over 26, and so that would be 108 over 702, and then orange juice then water will be 6 over 27, and 12 over 26, and that would be 72 over 702. Now we're looking at the probability of this or this or this, and the word or means add. So the probability of OA or, I should put that in brackets, probability of OA or AW or OW is these added together. And when you add them together, you get 234 over 702. Now, I said we would deal with the reverse situations now. I'm going to deal with that now. And as I said, OA is going to be equal to AO, AW is equal to WA, and OW is equal to WO. So all we need to do to find the probability that the drinks are different is get the 234 over 702 and just double it. And we can do that by just doubling the numerator, so 468 over 702. That cancels down to 2/3, so there is a 2/3 chance that the drinks will be different. So the easiest way to do these types of questions is to draw 2-dimensional representations of the triangles. So we're looking for length BH, which is this length here, all the way along here. So we can't go directly there, but what we can do is we can find out what FH is. If we draw a little right angled triangle here, and let's copy across this 3 centimeters. So if it's 3 centimeters on the right, it will be 3 centimeters on the left. And let's draw in this little right angled triangle here. And we've got EF is 3, EH is 2, and let's look for FH. Okay, so FH will be the one we're looking for. Now, it's a right angled triangle. You've got 2 lengths, you're looking for the third length. It's definitely going to be Pythagoras. So it's going to be FH squared equals EH squared plus EF squared. Let's get our little tram lines in. And EH squared, that's just 2 squared, that's 3 squared, that's going to be 13. Square root both sides to find out what FH is. And square root of 13 is 3.605, blah, blah, blah. You could leave it as square root 13. And now, because we know that length, we can actually work out what the length BH is by drawing another right angled triangle. And this time we've got the missing length for this triangle. So we couldn't do this before because we didn't know what the bottom length FH is, but we do now. It's 3.605, blah, blah, blah. And the height is the same as over here. It's going to be 4. And so we're going to write down that BH squared, it's Pythagoras again, so we're looking for BH here, is going to equal to FH squared plus BF squared. Get our little tram lines in. Okay, so that's going to be the 3.605 blah blah blah, which I'm going to keep in my calculator, plus 4 squared. That's going to equal 29, exactly 29. Square root both sides, and you get BH equal to 5.385, blah blah blah. It says it wants its 2 decimal places, so therefore I'm going to leave it as 5.39 centimeters. Now there is a quicker way of doing this, a little formula. And what you can do, if you're looking for the length of a diagonal in any cube or cuboid, you can do a squared plus b squared plus c squared and square root it all. So you do 2 squared plus 3 squared plus 4 squared, square root it all, you also get 5.39. You might ask, why haven't I done that for this one? Well, there's going to be some trigonometry questions based upon 3-dimensional cuboids where there's no simple formula to do, so it's always good to break them down into 2 triangles if you can. A simple trick when you're finding the inverse of a function is to replace or to switch the y and the x. Now we don't actually have a y in here, but we can just put one in, it's not a problem. So we can just rewrite this function as y equals x over 10 minus 11. And we're just going to switch around the y and the x. So x equals y over 10 minus 11. Now the objective now is to get the y on its own, to make y the subject. So we're going to first of all add the 11 both sides. And I've made an amateur move here. I've not left myself enough room, so let's just scoot that across. Okay, so add the 11, so it would be x plus 11 equals y over 10. Next thing we're going to do is multiply by the 10 to get y on its own. So it would be 10 brackets x plus 11 equals y. Expand those would be 10x plus 110 equals y. Now this doesn't equal y. We are looking for the inverse function with this notation here. So we just replace the y with this notation and we get 10x plus 110. So you can complete a unique version of this paper by going to our onmaths site. onmaths is full of free content to help you prepare for your exams, such as topic-based papers, demon questions and mini mocks. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing.